Hello, everyone! Welcome once again to Brandao Collection. Today, we are going over our trip to New York Comic Con 2021. We have some exciting things to share with you, so join us as we go over all of the things we experienced and all the things that we collected during our time at New York Comic Con. All right, so we're going to jump right into it right now as we go over our experience at New York Comic Con 2021. It was fantastic to be back in New York Comic Con again after last year was unfortunately canceled due to everything going on in the world. It felt wonderful to step back into the Jacob Javits Center. It, in my personal experience, was the first time being back in New York City since all of this stuff happened. The last time I was in New York City was February of 2020 for a show. So it was great to be back in New York City once again, back on the floor of the Jacob Javits Center, and in that crowd of New York Comic Con once again. We had a great experience going over. We bought a lot of comic books. We went and met some celebrities. We went around and just kind of got the lay of the land. It was a very different type of feel compared to previous New York Comic Cons. If you have been to New York Comic Con before, I want to know your thoughts on if you went this year. What were your thoughts on kind of the feeling compared to what it was like beforehand? Let's say Comic Con 2019 or previous years before that. What was your experience? I really want to know because for me, it was great seeing that the first 2 days, Thursday and Friday, were barely any types of crowds. I mean, compared to any other types of big conventions that I've personally been to over the years, New York Comic Con in the past, there were barely any crowds those first 2 days. Once we got to Saturday, the crowds went up a little bit just because now it's the weekend. People don't need to take off of work. And then Sunday, I personally didn't go Sunday, but my family actually went on Sunday again, and they told me that they felt like Sunday was busier than any of the previous 3 days before. For whatever reason it may have been in that case. And you got to remember too, is that tickets were available for Thursday, Friday, and Sunday all the way up until Friday night of the actual weekend of Comic Con. So Comic Con didn't fully sell out for the whole weekend until Friday night. So Thursday still had tickets all day, Friday still had tickets all day, and then Friday night, Sunday sold out. So Saturday and Sunday were fully sold out from what Comic-Con let us know on that Friday night. So that may have been a factor of why Sunday was busier from what I've heard, was just based on the fact that more people bought tickets recently, so they were more ready to go and get there to the Jacob Javits Center that Sunday and experience Comic-Con on its final day. But all around, I love the vibe of having everybody back together. Everybody was very good with following all the guidelines that were put in place for the event for all of our safety. And it was a nice, smooth process. I thought Comic-Con handled it. Reed Pop, who runs them, handled it very well of keeping everything moving along smoothly and keeping that same type of atmosphere and great camaraderie, I should say, between all of us nerdy and geeky people there to experience, whether you're buying comic books, you're meeting celebrities for autographs, you're there for anime, you're there just to shop around and find whatever types of things, of different types of memorabilia that you're looking for. All around, it was a great experience from there. So from that, what I wanted to do today is, of course, we just talked about a little bit our experience at Comic-Con. I want to show you guys exactly what items I picked up during my time, my 3 days there, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll show you a little bit of footage of us walking around the show floor, some other exciting things that we saw while we were there, and of course go over those items that we picked up. So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. It helps us grow. It helps us go to other conventions, go to other places, bring you more content like this. And other than this video, we do have some exciting new vlogs coming up through the month of October. So keep an eye out for that. Hit that bell notification to be notified when we post new content. And what we'll do now is we'll jump in, give you kind of an overview, a look at what it looked like there at New York Comic Con 2021, and we'll be back around to show you what we picked up as well. Thank you once again for watching. So now, after taking a look at what Comic-Con had to offer, what we're going to do now is we are going to go over the items that we picked up during our 3 days at New York Comic-Con. Now, I focused mostly on buying comic books this time, as I normally do when I go to a comic convention, but there were a list of things that I wanted to get that I was just mainly kind of focusing on, and then there were also items that I always just kind of have going in my head that I'm always looking for to add to the personal collection. So it's a mix of things that I was looking for and a mix of things that I found that I thought were some great deals as we were making our way through those different comic vendors. I gotta say, the comic vendor turnout was fantastic, and I thought that there's a lot of focus on comic books this year. Me and my brother, who both collect comics, we've always said that in previous years, the comic book side of Comic-Con is kind of going to the wayside, meaning in the sense of what people are focusing on. But this year, it really felt like people were really focusing on the comic books, and it looked like the vendors were having a great time and that they were doing very well, which is fantastic. I always love seeing all the comic vendors being very successful with their sales. So, first off, before we actually even get to the comic books, the first thing I picked up was just something silly that I saw that I loved and thought this was funny. Now, also, I asked you before to leave a comment about Comic-Con, but if you know this movie, let me know in the comments below. Then you'll know what I show you here. And that is a little action figure of the alien from the movie Laser Blast. I thought this was just very funny. There was a booth for Full Moon Pictures. They are the ones that also do the Puppet Master movies. So I guess they have the rights to Laser Blast. I believe so. So they had little figures of different characters from their horror movies. I saw this one at the booth and I had to get it. I love B movies. I love so bad they're good movies, and this is one of those movies. And I thought it was nice to add this little alien to the collection. Just something a little fun. I'll show you the back here too as well. Like I said, something fun. But other than that, the rest of what we have here is all comic books. So, what we're going to do is we'll start off kind of the modern stuff, the more things like that, and then move closer and closer to the bigger books, at least in my opinion, out of the ones that I picked up. So, the first book here was actually completely free, but has been getting really hot on the market right now. And that is going to be The Death of Doctor Strange, #1. This is specifically the eBay variant. So there was a booth there from eBay, and they were handing these out for free. So you just had to get in line, scan your badge when you get up there, and they just hand you one of these. That was it. That's all you had to do, is just they hand it to you by scanning your badge, waiting in line, scanning your badge. There you go. And this is the eBay variant of this new book. I really like this cover, and you can't beat free. So that's the first great pickup there, is that. Next book here is a book I picked up on Thursday, one of the earlier books I picked on, a modern book, but the artist was there signing, so I picked up the book and then had it signed. And that is this Miles Morales variant cover. Really, really nice. You can see up there, it is signed by the artist. I was able to meet them. They were at the booth signing where they were selling these. So I believe it was Eastside Comics was where I bought this from. So this is a wonderful Virgin cover. I love this image of Miles. I love the art, and I'm very happy that the artist was there to sign it. So jumping into kind of the more books I was looking for my personal collection, and the ones that are a little bit older. We're not going too old yet, but modern, but still older than now. First book here, one of the artists that I collect the most is J. Scott Campbell. So he's the artist I think I have the most different items in my collection for. And this was a cover that I've been looking for some time for some good prices, and I was able to get it for a good deal here. And that is Amazing Spider-Man 606, which has Spider-Man kissing Black Cat there with Mary Jane in the back. How scandalous. One of my favorite J. Scott Campbell covers. Finally have it in the collection. The same booth here, which is Zap Comics, which is one of my main comic books stores that I actually go to here in New Jersey. They had that book, and then they also had this one, which I love this cover. It's really funny. Another Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 611, which is the Deadpool and Spider-Man cover with Spider-Man with all the pouches. So making fun of that Rob Liefeld thing with all the patches, or pouches, I should say, on all of the different Rob Liefeld characters. So I thought that's a lot of fun cover. It's a wonderful cover, and both of these that I've shown you are in wonderful condition. So I'm going to put these away, put these in Mylars already. I'm going to put these away, and they'll be protected and stay in this nice condition. Next, we actually move to another J. Scott Campbell cover, and that is going to be a book that's also become a key recently, just due to the Loki show on Disney+, and that is going to be Thor #5. This is the variant cover, which is the J. Scott Campbell variant cover, which is really, really nice. With all the Loki variants going around, these Loki variants, I should say, and also Loki variant appearances are going up a lot recently, but I just love this cover, and like I said, I love J. Scott Campbell. So now moving more into the more vintage, I should say. We're getting into bronze and silver, kind of mix of different ages there. We also have a mix of some other 90s type of stuff in there. But first book here that I picked up that was on my list is Daredevil and the Black Widow, #105. So this I picked up because I'm trying to complete a run of all of the first appearances of Thanos and that initial Thanos storyline when he first showed up in the Marvel universe, and that storyline from when he initially showed up all the way through when he first left before they brought him back again. So this was just one of those random issues mixed in there, that was part of that Thanos story from that timeline. So number 105 of Daredevil. Next book here, another one that's kind of part of that and is also kind of a big topic right now, considering the big news that happened this week with Adam Warlock being casted in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But I bought this before that announcement, but now everything's kind of going crazy with the Adam Warlock stuff. But we have here Marvel Premiere number 2, which is the second appearance of Adam Warlock. So he did initially showed up in Fantastic Four as him, and then in Marvel Premiere number 1, that is where he gets the Warlock name, and then this is Marvel Premiere number 2. So this is when he's really starting to get into that actual name of Adam Warlock, which is going to show up in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Next cover here, another thing that has to do with what's kind of going on in the market right now, and also exciting things happening in the world of movies, Marvel movies. And this is just another kind of random issue. It is Marvel Age 114, and this cover I just wanted because it's got Spidey and it's got all of his villains, and I love Spider-Man. But the main reason is because of Carnage up there in the top corner. You can see right here by my finger. Carnage up there in the top corner. This is one of the earliest covers with Carnage on it, not too long after he was created and first introduced. So this is just an early cover with Carnage located on there, and I love Carnage. I love Venom. I love all these Spider-Man villains overall. So just a great cover and an early Carnage cover. Next one, couple more Spideys here. So we have Web of Spider-Man number 36. This is the first appearance of Tombstone, who was actually in the Spider-Man PS4 game. So another Spider-Man villain, one of those like kind of lower level Spider-Man villains, but he was in the game. He did play a major part in the downloadable content for that PS4 game. So just another one to add of my kind of minor keys of Spider-Man villains. Another piece of all my kind of Spider-Man collection is collecting the different suits that he's worn over time, or the different versions of Spider-Man. And right here we have another Web of Spider-Man number 100, which is the first appearance of the Spider Armor. Got that kind of shimmering cover there in the background, which is great. This cover always reminds me of the Spider-Man game from the first PlayStation. So the PS1 Spider-Man game, I remember you can unlock all these different Spider-Man costumes, and this is one of the ones I used to play all the time as a kid. I used to use this suit. So it reminds me of that, so I had to pick this one up, and it's in great condition as well. Next one, jumping away from Marvel for a second. I rarely, as you know, collect DC books. I have very few DC books. I mainly kind of really focus on certain characters or keys. And the one I picked up here, I loved the new Suicide Squad, the one by James Gunn that came out earlier this year. So I did pick up the first appearance of Bloodsport, which is Superman number 4. Right here, first appearance of Bloodsport, who Idris Elba played in the James Gunn Suicide Squad. Like I said, I love that movie, and I wanted to pick up the first appearance of this character. So there you go. Next one, another one that kind of relates back to the Loki TV show again, going back to Marvel again, and that is going to be Thor number 365, which is first appearance of Throg. Frog Thor. We saw a little glimpse of him in the Loki TV show, kind of as an Easter egg. Ever since then, people were like, wow, okay, Throg is in the MCU. Let's see if they bring him back again in the future. So who knows? But just another great one. This is one that I've had on my list even before the Loki TV show. I just had it on there just as one of those really weird and kind of wonderful little stories that have happened over the course of history of Marvel. Just something nice to have in the collection. And all things considered, got a great deal on this book. Next one here, another Disney Plus kind of related item. And we have West Coast Avengers number 45 right here, which is first White Vision, all White Vision, which of course we saw in the finale of WandaVision. So when that show first came out and it was revealed to the White Vision, this book exploded. And all the comic shows I went to after that, this book was so much money for a book that was kind of in the low bins before the show came out. This was not a popular book, but it has definitely kind of leveled out now. So it got to a spot where I felt comfortable paying the price that I paid for this. I did not pay for anything crazy for it, in my opinion. So it got to a right spot, but happy to have it in the collection and another nice copy as well. Next one, something that's upcoming in the future of the MCU next year, I believe, in the next Thor movie. And we have here Thor number 1, which is the first Jane Foster as Thor. Now, I actually have Thor number 1, but I only had the variant covers. So I had 2 different variant covers, which I'll show you here. So these are the variant covers that I had previously. And then now I picked up the actual original main cover for this book. This is the one that everybody's looking for just because this is the main cover, not the variant for that first appearance of Jane as Thor within the actual continuity. So now I actually have this to go along with those variants, and I'm happy to have that. Next one of my favorite characters that's outside of DC, outside of Marvel, more going into the Dark Horse side. One of my favorite movies that really got me into superhero movies was the first Hellboy movie by Guillermo del Toro. Both that one and the second movie as well, Golden Army. Those movies, I love those movies. I love Ron Perlman as Hellboy. We're not going to talk about the new one that came out a while back. That one was... but we'll talk about the Ron Perlman, Guillermo del Toro ones. And one of my favorites here, I'm happy to finally have this first full appearance of Hellboy right here in X-Men number 3. Now, this is not his actual first appearance. There is so many different first appearances for Hellboy. Mike Mignola, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he used Hellboy in a lot of different other promotional material before he actually showed up in this book. So there is a San Diego Comic-Con comic book that has what's considered the first appearance of Hellboy. There are kind of pamphlets that were handed out at different events that are considered first appearance. So he kind of goes all over the place, but this one is kind of the first real, okay, this looks like the Hellboy we all know and love that really goes in there. This is like that first full appearance. So excited to finally have this one in my collection. Next, we're starting now to get into the older ones. We're kind of winding down here. Now, like I said, I love Spider-Man. I've been trying, one of my main goals is to get everything from the Steve Ditko run. So that is going to be your initial run of Spider-Man. So issues 1 all the way down to issue number 36, which was his final issue on that initial run of Spider-Man. So I want to try to get all of those items. Of course, though, that first kind of initial issues are very difficult and very expensive since those are the first appearances of a lot of major villains. But we're picking our way off of there, and we picked up 2 more to add to the collection. Now, these are beater copies. They're nothing too crazy or that well protected. Well, now they are, but I just want to have them in the collection just so I have those numbers, and then hopefully in the future I have the ability to upgrade these and get some better copies. But the 2 that we got here are going to be Spider-Man number 21. So we have there. We have 21. And then the other issue that we got was Spider-Man number 28, which is the first Molten Man. This cover is very difficult to find in a good condition because it's a black cover, so you can see all of the spine ticks, you can see all the rolls, you can see all of the different imperfections on this cover, no matter which type of grade you find on this. I've seen this book with so many vendors over the years, but I finally was able to make a good deal on both of these books with a vendor that I've become friendly with that I see at every single show. So happy to add 2 more to my initial run of Spider-Man. And then the last comic that I got, the last one was, I bought it from the same vendor that I just bought those Spider-Mans from. This was a book that is heating up a lot, once again based on the MCU future on Disney+. And this is not a first appearance, it is a second appearance of a major character that is going to be upcoming in the MCU. But as I'm waiting to kind of get to that stage where I can jump in and buy that first appearance, it's great that I can get this second appearance, and that is going to be Werewolf by Night number 33, which is the second appearance of Moon Knight, which he has a show upcoming soon on Disney Plus with Oscar Isaac. So any kind of books that are related to Moon Knight have been shooting up because that first appearance, Werewolf by Night 32, has gotten to such a crazy level that now we're at that point that a lot of the other books are going up as well around it because a lot of people can't afford that first one right now in the current state of the market. So those are all of the different comic books that we picked up during New York Comic Con 2021. Once again, it was very exciting to be back on the show floor, jump in there. Now, it wasn't the first comic convention we've been to in 2021, but it was a wonderful feeling having that all come back and be able to pick up these books, talk to a lot of these vendors we've become friends with over the years, be able to see them, have them be successful at all these different sales, and be able to pick up some nice books for the personal collection. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to be notified when we post new content. We're always posting new videos just like this, these vlogs, these hauls for not only just comic books, but also for autographs, for Hot Toys. We have some Hot Toys upcoming. We haven't bought a Hot Toy in a long time, so we have some that are on order that should be coming within the next couple months, and we'll have some great overview videos of that as well. And as always, keep on collecting.